Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's story. James has been kidnapped. Diep is desperate to find him, and amidst the chaos, she discovers she's pregnant. Danger closes in, but love refuses to surrender. What will happen next? Stay tuned. A dusty afternoon blanketed the edge of the city. The sound of motorbikes echoed faintly through the air as Duke leaned against a rusted pole in an abandoned lot, scanning every direction with sharp eyes. He looked restless. A motorcycle pulled up, its rider cutting the engine with a flick. "You're Duke, right?" the man asked, stepping forward. Duke gave a nod. "Heard you run things around here," the man continued. "Yeah, what's the job?" Duke replied, guarded. The man lowered his voice. "I want you to kidnap someone." The air shifted. The others around Duke paused. One of them scoffed, "Kidnapping? That's risky. Laws are too strict these days." But the man didn't flinch. "I'll pay $10,000, he said calmly. "Just hold him for 3 days. No harm, no killing. I give you my word." There was a pause. The men exchanged looks. Greed was louder than fear. 3 days only, someone asked again. 3 days, the man confirmed. "I'll lure him to the location. You wait, snatch, and disappear." Duke raised a brow. "Who's the target?" "Not important, just follow instructions." Another pause. One man still hesitated. "This job's tricky. We'll need more hands." The man nodded. "Do it right, and you get another $3,000. That's 15,000 total." The sum floated in the air like heat off asphalt. Silence stretched until Duke finally said, "Deal." The others nodded. The wind stirred, rustling plastic bags across the ground. No names, no signatures, just money and silence. None of them knew that this single job, so small, so fast, would ignite a storm. What they had agreed to wasn't just a kidnapping. It was the start of something far more dangerous, and there would be no turning back. In the pale morning light, James stood in front of the mirror. He took off his suit jacket, unfastened his expensive watch, and replaced them with a worn-out worker's uniform. The faded blue shirt, the mud-stained boots, the scratched helmet, none of it looked like him. But this was the version of himself he needed to be. Outside, Tuan was waiting. "I've already informed the lumber crew. They think you're a new temp sent in to assist." James nodded, silent. They drove through narrow dirt roads, dust swirling behind them like smoke on a battlefield. When they arrived, James stepped out and blended into the crew. He moved with them, listened, watched, every glance, every whisper. Everything seemed normal. Too normal. There was a smoothness to it that didn't sit right. One worker dropped a piece of wood. James bent down to help and noticed something odd. Several beams had been pre-nailed, then disguised. Marks hidden. Evidence erased. Sweat crept down his back. This wasn't just mishandling. This was calculated. In the distance, a motorcycle zipped past. The passenger looked back at James for just a second too long. His instincts sparked. Someone was watching. But he didn't flinch. He kept moving. If the truth was buried here, he had to dig with his own hands. Because some things couldn't be found from behind a desk. And he wasn't here as a CEO today. He was here as a man chasing a lie that had already cost too much. One mistake, and he'd be next. The sky was overcast, clouds drifting silently over the old rooftop. Diep stood at the front gate, holding a small bag of pastries. She knocked gently. "Mom." Slow footsteps echoed from inside. Her mother opened the door with a soft smile. "It's been so long since you came home." Diep wrapped her arms around her mother, tighter than usual. "Let me hug you a little longer. It's been a while." She didn't say that this might be the last time. A simple meal was laid out. Diep ate little but kept looking at her mother. "You've worked so hard. I love you so much." Her mother's gaze dimmed. "Are you planning to leave?" Diep nodded, holding back the lump in her throat. "I need to go, work far away. I have to earn money, help you and my brother too." Her mother put down her chopsticks. No protests, just reached over and gave her another bite of vegetables. "Eat what we have. I don't need much. I just want you to stay safe." Diep nodded. She stood up and hugged her mother once more. "Take care of yourself. I'll come back when I'm stronger." On her way home, she stopped in front of the house she once shared with James. Memories flooded back like an old fading film reel. She knew if she stayed, her heart would never let go. But if she left, at least she could keep her pride. And sometimes letting go isn't giving up. It's the only way to love someone with your whole heart, even from a distance. The sky darkened early. Wind pushed through brittle branches, whistling like a warning. Down a narrow alleyway where the streetlights hadn't yet flickered on, 3 men crouched against a wall, faces masked, eyes sharp and alert. One of them checked his watch and gave a subtle nod. "It's time." A call came in. Duke's voice was calm on the other end. "He'll be there in 10 minutes. Same location as planned." The man ended the call without a word and signaled with his hand. No one spoke. They split silently, each carrying a rope, gloves, and an extra mask. One of the younger guys hesitated. "Do we even know who this guy is? What if he comes after us later?" The leader didn't turn around. "You think too much. Get it done. Take the money. That's it." His voice cut like a switchblade, slicing through what was left of doubt. In the shadows, they moved like ghosts. No names, no faces, no hesitation. Across the street, a 4th man adjusted a camera hidden in the corner, angling it to capture everything. He grinned. "Just play your part. I'll take care of the rest." Final checks. Silent positions. No alarms, no gunshots. Just tension, a thick, suffocating stillness that always comes before something goes wrong. Somewhere not far from there, James was on his way. Unaware, focused, blind to the trap set just ahead. And as each minute ticked by, the noose tightened. There's no sound more terrifying than silence, when you know someone's waiting for you in the dark. The phone rang once, then stopped. She redialed. Nothing. "The number you are calling is currently unavailable." The voice recording sounded the same each time, but every time it cut a little deeper. Diep stared at the screen, her fingers tightening around the phone like it was the only thing anchoring her to reality. Something was wrong. Not just late for a meeting wrong, deeply, terribly wrong. She messaged James, still no reply, no read receipts, no dots typing back. Hockey rested his head on her lap, sensing the tension in her body. The room felt colder than usual. Then, her phone vibrated. Unknown number. She answered. A voice, distorted and lifeless, spoke. "James, your son has been kidnapped." The line went dead. Her world stopped. "Hello? What did you say?" she screamed, calling back. No answer. Then a message. "Sorry, wrong number." A mistake? A cruel prank? She wasn't sure, but her heart was. She bolted to the door, shouting his name. James, pick up, please!" Her voice cracked in the wind. No one replied. She tried calling again, still no connection. "Please," she whispered, staring at the phone screen as it flickered back to black. Her legs gave out. She sank to the ground on the porch steps. Hockey pressed close. The air felt heavy, like a storm about to break. Deep inside, she knew. This wasn't a joke. Someone had taken him. Someone knew where to strike. James had vanished without a trace, and she couldn't follow, couldn't help, couldn't even scream loud enough to reach him. Only the wind answered, cold, empty, and alive with silence. Evening crept in, swallowing the last hints of sunlight. James exited the warehouse, footsteps heavy, eyes sharp. In his hand, a single piece of lumber, seemingly ordinary but with faint, deliberate markings, proof. He didn't speak. He walked straight to his car, sat down, and pulled out his phone. He took a photo of the wood, then typed, "I've found the proof." The message sent. 1 second later, he removed the SIM card and snapped it clean in half. It was a line he no longer wanted to be traced. He knew someone had eyes on him. He could feel it in the back of his neck. The silence was too thick, the air too still. James drove to an empty clearing. Dirt, grass, sky. He stepped out and intentionally left footprints, clear, deep. He climbed onto the hood of the car, phone still in hand. One more call. Tu Diep? No answer. He stared at the night sky. "Please wait for me," he whispered. "Just a little longer. Once this is over, I'll come back. Just us. Nothing else." In the distance, a motorbike engine approached. Headlights flared. James didn't move. 3 men got off the bike. One of them pointed. "That's him." James didn't resist, didn't speak. Just looked up and said, "Don't touch her. She's not part of this." And then, the light shut off. Shadows consumed the field. The only thing that remained was the message he'd sent, floating in someone's inbox. He had done his part, but the cost was himself. There were no sirens, no witnesses, just the sound of the wind swallowing up a man who chose truth over safety. And in that choice, he disappeared. It was late. The wind brushed softly against the curtain of a small, quiet room. James hadn't come back. Diep lay motionless on the bed, her skin pale, her gaze lost in the blankness of the white wall. Hockey curled close to her, unmoving, eyes quietly watching, sensing the heaviness in her breath. Silence pressed into the room, broken only by the faint ticking of the clock on the wall. She gently placed her hand on her belly, a fragile heartbeat growing inside. No more tears? Her body had given up crying. James once said he'd return, that he would build a home where no burdens followed, just peace, just them. But those words had faded into echoes. Outside, the streetlight cast a yellow glow through the sheer curtain, catching her weary face in half-light. The phone vibrated. Her heart stopped. A message blinked on screen. "I'm still alive. Wait for me." Sent from an unknown number. Her hand trembled as she held the phone close to her chest. Her lips parted, air shaking between them. "I can wait. Just come back to me," she whispered like a prayer. Her eyes filled again. Not from grief this time, but from a fragile hope not yet gone. Outside, the wind grew stronger, sweeping leaves across the pavement, rustling through branches, carrying the scent of earth and unsaid goodbyes. Across the street, beneath the street lamp's circle of light, a figure stood still, unmoving, faceless in shadow, looking up toward her window. She didn't see it, but somehow in her heart, she knew. Somewhere in the dark, something still connected them. A thread not yet cut, a promise not yet broken.
Diệp, một cô gái bình dị, bất ngờ vướng vào vòng xoay nguy hiểm khi CEO James, người yêu cô, bị bắt cóc trong lúc điều tra vụ án phá hoại công ty. Dù gia đình James khước từ, Diệp vẫn liều mình cứu anh. Không may bị đánh ngất, mang thai trong vô thức. James hóa trang làm công nhân, thâm nhập hang ổ tội phạm để tìm bằng chứng, đối mặt với những kẻ từng muốn sát hại anh. Khi mọi chuyện dường như sắp kết thúc, Diệp vẫn chưa tỉnh lại. Một tin nhắn lạ gửi đến điện thoại cô. Anh vẫn còn sống, chờ anh trong căn phòng vắng, giữa hy vọng mong manh tình yêu chưa trọn. Diệp nắm chặt lời hứa cuối cùng, một sợi dây kết nối giữa bóng tối.